Hello everyone, welcome to the RNG University. So today I'm going to shift gears and change my manner of playing. I run out of puns, but the idea is I'm going to try a net deck that I found that is Orzhov uh, vehicles or Orzhov Greasefang Okiba boss deck. So the idea of this deck is obviously to use Greasefang comboed with the Search Hacker mech to kill basically anything on the board, and then with Bankbuster, Unlicensed Hers, and the Search Hacker mech, you can just kind of go over the top and attack your opponent. Funny thing I've found in this deck is that there's a lot of two-offs and and a bunch of one-offs that kind of serve their own purpose in a best of one that you don't see that often in best of one. You see a lot more in best of threes, but here I think the creator of this deck really wanted to try out different versions and different combinations to get it to work. Obviously, that means that this deck is not refined to the limit, but can be fine-tuned. Well, let's look at exactly what we have here. All right, so for the vehicles, we have, of course, four Bankbuster, two Unlicensed Hearse, and three Search Hacker Mech. These are very good vehicles. Bankbuster kind of explains for itself. It's card advantage, it's creatures, it's eventually mana too. Unlicensed Hearse kills graveyards, which is fantastic for a lot of graveyard synergy decks. And then Search Hacker Mech just kind of cleans the board and also combos with Greasefang, because Greasefang eventually brings vehicles back from the graveyard to play and then back to your hand. And Search Hacker, if it goes back to your hand, you can use that ability again when you play it again. So these are pretty good combos all on its own. But we also have the Black Shell that are in most decks nowadays. Let me make the shells sort correctly. So there are 10 cards that are fairly consistent in black shells. Actually, we can even count as 12 cards. Cut down, obviously, removal. 2 Tenacious Underdog for Blitz for card draw. And to crew creatures, or crew, our vehicles, always good. Liliana, not really much to say about it. This was a $100 card at some point for an exact reason, right? Shieldred, because we can gain life on drawing cards. We can deal damage on opponent drawing cards. Invoke Despair to make our opponent despair. And Meat Hook to clean the board. Field Clean's always good in a deck that lacks a lot of Doom Scars and DOJs and things like that. Alright, and then we also couple that with a few other removals in black and white. That is your Faithful Absence, one Rite of Oblivion if you want to take out something that's not a creature or a planeswalker. Farewell to clear entire board other than planeswalkers, and sometimes other than artifacts as well if you want to keep your vehicles out. March is always good for exile, especially against your opponent's underdog. Speaking of exile, we also have where does it go? Wandering Emperor to do also that. It's a white deck. You definitely got to run Wandering Emperor, but only 2 offs. The author also wanted to run 2 Tainted Adversary. This is the most iffy card that I've found in this deck. I think this might serve better as 2 more Underdog or 2 more Liliana. I'm not actually quite sure, right? This definitely can help you crew multiple vehicles if you get the quote-unquote kicker off, but I don't know. I haven't played it enough to figure this out yet. Maybe it's good. 4 Restoration of Aganjo to kind of ramp, kind of get your vehicles back. They're also good. Sarah Paragon does the same thing. It can help you get your vehicles back. You can help you play all of these smaller cast cards back. Also, you can cast your lands back if you discard them with the Restoration of Aganjo. Now, the land base is also kind of funny because there are 5 plains and 7 swamps rather than 6. Even though we have Restoration of Aganjo to search for plains, we need more swamps because of Invoke Despair. So Invoke Despair is so good that even with a deck that doesn't synergize with it, you should still run it in your deck and you should still have mana to do it. 1 Aganjo, 1 Takenuma, pretty self-explanatory. 4 Shadow Sanctum for mana, 2 Mech Hanger to cast our vehicle or make vehicles into creatures, and 3 Roadside Reliquary because we have a lot of enchantments, a lot of artifacts to draw 2 cards. And once Roadside Reliquary hits the graveyard, we can bring it back with Sarah Paragon. So that is the idea of the deck. I haven't really played this too much, but let's try it out, see how well it does. That is not where I wanted to go. We want to go to Standard and pick out the Orzhov Mech deck. I'm not really sure. Did I select standard plate or standard rank? Alright, there's a rank showing, so we're playing standard rank. We're playing against Jijo. He is not Jojo. We go first. No mech. We do have Restoration of a Ganjo, which is pretty good. So I'm going to keep. Alright, we drop our turn 1 tap land. Okay, so he's going to start with Hopeful Initiate, which we have to remove. So let's... no, let's not remove that yet. Right? If my opponent plays Thalia, we're going to need March to remove it, but our opponent doesn't play anything. We can hold the March for a bigger creature. We'll take the 1, because 1 damage really isn't going to do anything. There is the Guardian of New Benalia. Now, there is a call for removing Hopeful Initiate during this turn, or even exiling the Guardian, so that it doesn't do anything to us on the next turn. But we do have to exile a card, right? So if we take out Rite of Oblivion, does it exile? Exile white card. So it's not very good to exile our Rite of Oblivion. We don't get the flashback. And then, okay, so I guess we're just going to... Does this have Vigilance? It does not have Vigilance. We're just going to eat the... We're going to eat the 2 damage. It's mono white, so it's a pretty aggro deck, and we can't just sit back and let it do what it wants. We have to get board presence as fast as we can, which is why I'm cleaning up their board as much as I can. Now the Guardian of New Benalia cannot enlist next turn, and if it attacks us, we do have Wandering Emperor on the backswing in case we need it, and we have the mana to play those. I think. Again, I'm not an expert in this deck in any way whatsoever. I'm not used to playing vehicle decks, I guess. Alright, so he might play the... okay, Thalia is not what I expected. I thought he might play the card that looks in my hand. Alright, so let's just ramp the land out. And then we'll play a land anyways. So now our Wandering Emperor costs 5, which means we cannot play it. We can play the Orzhov Greasefang, but we don't have a vehicle, so we only have a cut down to cut their Thalia down. But we can cut their Thalia down on their turn. That is an interesting proposal. I don't think they have anything to save Thalia. So we will cut Thalia down on their turn to see any responses or any plays. Okay, so we gotta cut Thalia down before they play anything else. They've entered combat, so they have to play a combat trick instead of a creature or a non-creature spell. Hot Shot Mechanic. That is interesting. Second Thalia. That's less fun for us, but at least we have a 3/4 blocker now. So if we want to attack, we can block with our 3/4. We also have a Wandering Emperor to exile the Guardian right now. And then we could use the Guardian, or we can use the Architect of Restoration to block for Wandering Emperor, unless he double swings. And if he double swings, we have a blocker to get a creature out. So I don't really care about the Emperor dying too much. And it's very important for me to get rid of the Guardian because it's very good, and if he enlists, we're gonna be in trouble. Yeah, so the Wandering Emperor is gonna have to take one for the team. Sarah Paragon, huh? Can't play anything on his turn. Does not play anything with the Sarah Paragon. So, okay. I can cut the Thalia down and then play the right. That's exactly 5 mana. But that would mean I have to make a Samurai with this. I can also give it +1/+1.
I have got new moves to teach
It has Vigilance, so let's see if the opponent wants to block. And does not block. So I did not play a land this turn. I could Restoration to get an extra land out, but I think it's better to Rite of Oblivion to Sarah Paragon and exile my 1/1. the opponent's Thalia is stopping them from playing Wandering Emperor, so I'm actually liking it on the board. This is a funny mech deck that does not have any mech. Alright, so he's going to exile something from my graveyard, probably my right. Yep. And a Guardian? Okay, if I was him, I'd probably double attack the Wandering Emperor to get rid of it. But if my opponent doesn't, I can always cut down their Sun Gold Sentinel. Alright, so the Surge Hacker mech is now on board. I can use it to kill the Thalia or the Hotshot mechanic. If I kill the Thalia, they get to play their Emperor, but I think that's fine. Let's have our Architect get buffed and attack again. It's got 5/6 first strike, so let's see if they want to block it. Which I doubt. I mean, they can block to kill something. Okay, so now that he only has one card left in his hand, I can Surge Hacker mech the Guardian, and it will just become indestructible by discarding a card. I don't know how good that is versus just killing one of his creatures. Which I'm going to take out the Thalia now that I have everything else on the board. Sarah Paragon, the second one. Alright, he gets to replay a lot of those cards, which we don't want to do. What do we draw? We draw a land. That's unfortunate. That's not what we want. Okay, so now that we draw a land, he can bring back next turn either a Sun Gold Sentinel or a Thalia, neither of which is good for us. So I think at this point I don't need the first strike anymore. I need to get damage in. I could play Orzhov Greasefang and then let's see, return it to the, so only when the artifact is something that I return with Orzhov. But I can use it to crew the Surge Hacker mech to get in for that extra damage if I want, which means that he is forced to block. Even if he's forced to block, he can just block with a 2/1 and then return on the backswing to attack me. So I think the better thing to do is put out a Samurai.
Let your blade do the talking.
And then just attack with the Architect. I seriously doubt he's going to block with anything other than the Hotshot mechanic. And even then, I'm not sure if he wants to block that way. He's blocking with the Guardian? It's probably a plane then. Oh, okay. That is not the worst thing for us. Mono White. I'm not sure if Mono White has any sort of field clean. And even if they do, it's a... Even if they have a field clean, it's going to be a farewell. So, our Wandering Emperor will still stick. Okay, he's attacking our Emperor, which kind of saw that coming, but he needs blockers now.
Still have much to learn.
Really? Not the one that exiles the Emperor? I mean, I guess he doesn't know that I don't have any way to bring him back. Oh, that is good. Probably the Restoration. Well, I can crew it, but I don't think there's a point to crewing it right now. Invoke is good for us. Nothing really to return, so I'm going to decline. Okay, so if we invoke, we get to draw 2 cards. Maybe something good will come out of those 2 cards. Have to invoke because there's a... Oh, I have to play a spell because there's Brutal Cathar anyways. Alright, we draw a plane. So, we're probably not going to attack unfortunately can't play the Emperor this turn. I could attack with the Search Hacker mech just to get 5 damage in. I think that's worth it. Also attack with a 2/2 in case he wants to trade. And trading is good for us because the Sarah Paragon only gets to play one thing a turn. Sun goes in. There it is. Does he have... He does not have... what's that thing called? Coven. There's our Emperor. She is gone for good. Okie doke. So he's got one card open, 2 land open, but that card is probably sacked to Guardian. Let us through our Architect. We'll go in for damage. He's at 4, and he practically has to block most of our creatures. Okay, he's blocking the 2/2. He is blocking the 3/4. He's not blocking the 3/4, or with the 3/4. He is blocking the 3/4. Is that the only block? You take 5, you die. Alright, our opponent's thinking very hard on this block. Come on, you're mono white. Blockers for losers. Double block. That cannot be the correct way. Alright, so we can go through it this way. That looks good. We get our Wandering Emperor. Let's see what he has with 2 mana.
Finally, I'm home.
We'll buff our Greasefang to give it first strike.
Strike fast and strike hard.
Alright, they gain the 2 life. So the Paragon, they can come back and kill the Wandering Emperor, which, I mean, that's fine with us because we can come back and kill them. They're at 6. Interpret Adversary, decent card for what they're going to do this turn, I guess, but it's very risky because the Search Hacker would just kill it, and then our Swing will kill him. See, he did not attack the Wandering Emperor because of that exact reason. Good game. Yeah, our opponent knows that they can't come back on this because the Search Hacker would kill his board. And we managed to rank up to another Gold tier. It's funny because Gold in Magic Arena is kind of like the lowest tier. Probably just means that you're playing the game without using just the base sets of cards they give you for free. Okay, so let's keep going. That was one game. And we got 1 mech out of our 9 mechs in the deck out. This is unfortunate. But we also did not choose to mulligan, so that might be a reason why. Alright, so we don't have white, but we have a lot of black cards to combo off. We're gonna keep that hand. We also have a Bank Buster. Definitely will help. Turn 2 Bank Buster, turn 3 Underdog. To crew Bank Buster? Maybe. Depending on whether or not our opponent actually wants to play the game. Bzz. No more Buzz? I'm not sure what our opponent's doing. They have no pet, so... It means something when your opponent doesn't have a pet, but I'm not quite sure. Oh, it's a dragon. Okay, I just didn't see it because it's a lazy pet. Okay, so I guess Reliquary turn 2 is fine. We'll drop the Bank Buster turn 2. We're not that aggro of a deck. We could be, but it really depends on where our opponent plays. So they underdog, we underdog. No, we Liliana. Alright, we Liliana. Always fill all your mana first. It's good to fill out the
When
curve.
I win, you're telling me sacrifices must be made.
Sacrifices must be made. Trespasser, you're gonna eat your own underdog? Not, obviously. Okay, so now there is a call for us to, well, we don't have white, so we can't Rite of Oblivion it. We can discard our Bankbuster and try to get it back with Greasefang, but again, we don't have white, so all that is pointless. Let us just play the... Maybe we should card draw, but even if we draw a card, now let's play the underdog. We already played a land this turn, so I'm just gonna pass it. I don't want the Graveyard Trespasser to eat my Bankbuster. And I don't really care that much if Liliana dies. We can crew. If you want to cut it down, we can cut it down. Alright, the Graveyard Trespasser is going to eat our underdog, which makes sense. What that Graveyard Trespasser is. It's not going to attack. We will draw a card. This is really unfortunate. But that does mean we can eventually hold out for the farewell. I don't know why I play a land first. I should have drawn a card first. Okay, well, here is second Bankbuster. Double attack on Liliana. Really want her dead. Okay,
Knew this was a
Shoujo
waste of time.
Third graveyard. There goes our Liliana, I guess. Concealing. Oh god, that is bad for us. Okay, we need to hurry up and get a removal card. Or even this white spell is not gonna help us, huh? So we can. Alright, we Bankbuster, and now we have to Rite of Oblivion their curtain. It looks dumb play, but it is definitely something we have to do. We'll get our underdog up. Now we have 2 white for next turn if we need to wipe the board. Yeah, we cannot let them make us discard. They're gonna do it anyways. Okay, so now we are in a new problem. They're gonna take out our farewell, which is our only farewell in the deck. But if they attack, at least our Bankbuster can do stuff. Okay, so they're not doing anything. We'll just go to our turn. Invoke's pretty good. Invoke's always good against an opponent that's turtling. Okay, so let's crew our Bankbuster up. We want to cut the underdog down. We really don't have anything in the graveyard too far. It is 1 underdog, 1 right, and 1 whatever he removed. I think it's farewell. Farewell's not coming back. We can block 1, maybe, and see if he has any removal for that. Okay, so I don't know if this crew 3 does anything. Actually, there's no point because we're already declared blockers. You draw a card. Come on, you draw a card. Okay, double Search Hacker can help. So here is the trick that I have planned. I'm going to Search Hacker Mech, and it'll deal 4 damage to one of the Graveyard Trespassers. Yes, I will do it. And it'll ask me to discard. I will discard my second Search Hacker, kill it, then we'll play our Okiba. In our combat, we get to return the Search Hacker, and it will kill one of those other ones. We discard our Restoration of Aganjo. And we'll pass the turn. So that killed both of his Trespassers. He has one more Trespasser, but it will just run into the Search Hacker or the Bank Buster. Underdog. I'm not sure if that's the right play, but okay. And they quit. Yep. Mono Black is such a funky deck. Like when it goes off, it looks so scary. But then there are games like those where it's just not doing anything for a while, and they just die. I figure out a trick to go against the Graveyard Trespasser, though really it's just to go over the top and have 4/4s out. It sounds ridiculous, but people tend to forget. And they try to go over the ward, and sometimes going over the ward early game is very hurtful. Going over the ward late game does not seem that bad, right, as you see in that game. We have 2 Unlicensed Hearths. Opponent goes first. Alright, so if opponent's mono blue, we have a very strong chance. Otherwise we'll lose. But we do have Invoke, so I'm going to keep. It's not the best hand. But it's also not the worst hand. Mega Morris. They give us a pretty cute sticker symbol, so I already like him. Alright, so will he counter this Hearst? He went out. Black blue, huh? Demir? What does Demir do? Oh. We have Liliana, that's what they do.
Something suspicious is going on. And for once, it's not my fault. Drop it.
First, we will pass. And we'll exile your cut down. Okay, so now we have 3 mana out. We can bring out the Greasefang and attack Liliana. But that's not really anything. So let us Faithful Absence your Liliana. Can't let that
Fine.
go off.
I'll take my zombies and leave.
Yeah, I've had that eat me alive before, and it's scary. Bank Buster, huh? We'll eat your Liliana. Restoration of Aganjo. You got a counter spell for that? Do not counter it. We get a playing out and end our turn. Now we can exile these because they don't really do anything. Opponent's gonna draw a card, obviously. Off the Bank Buster. I might have thought about drawing off the Clue. I know that there could be a turn where you can draw from both, but the Bank Buster holding on to the charge counter might be good long game. Playing on a hook for 0. That's weird. That just goes into the Invoke. But they have 3 mana, so they are holding up the counter spell. Do we want to discard a card? Maybe our cut down? Do we need a cut down against Demir? Probably not. Okay, now that we have 2 Unlicensed Hearths out, our Search Hacker mech is going to do major damage. Should we play this strat? No. We can sack the Orzhov Greasefang to drop 2 cards, which is pretty good for us overall. And we're not getting any value off the Search Hacker, so there's no reason to hurry against a control deck like that. Second Bank Buster. Who do I exile? These 2 cards? That's not bad. Alright, so I exile my own land, now I have no land. That's fun. I could march his Bank Buster. But I think it's better to attack first, right? He's gonna have to do something against my attack. This is gonna be a 4/4. Kill his Bank Buster. Infernal Grasp. Okay, so now he only has 2 land open. It might call for Liliana this turn, I think. It's not the worst way. But he could also have a counter spell. Right, so he could make a creature and then attack my Liliana, and I'll have nothing to block it with. Right, if I make him discard a card, that is not the best use of it in the world. But what is useful is I'm going to march his Bank Buster. And force him to use it this turn. If he used this Bank Buster, he can't use that this turn to create a 1/1. There it is. Alright, what did I get in the graveyard? Okay, these 2 I can bring back. I'm not going to exile. Ugh, Shieldred is bad for us. Okay, he has 3 lands open. Don't know what that means, but cannot be good. Does he want to draw a card? Does he want to attack with Bank Buster? He wants to draw a card. Okay. That cannot help us cast Invoke, and it cannot help us kill the Shieldred. That's unfortunate. Alright, so what does Liliana really do? Make him discard a card? Search Hacker Mech can do something like that. Because we'll just take a lot of damage. Opponent's tanking on this decision of whether or not to draw from the clue. I don't know what they're... Make this appear. Okay, so... Counters our Search Hacker Mech. Well, the problem with this game was that we didn't draw lands, right? A lot of times when you don't draw lands, you can't win the game. It's not that hard of a matchup to think of. Celestis. Well, we're gonna have to take that. Blocking it would just give us a 3/3. There's really no point there. Well, give us a 1/1 to kill our 3/4. That's what I mean to say. We'll exile to make this appear. Get a slightly bigger creature, I guess. He has another make disappear. We really cannot come out of that anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 mana, so we can put out 2 3-drops. We can start with Okiba. If he has counter spells, I don't think we can get out of that. So let's just put out the Okiba Greasefang first. Come on. Don't do that to me. And we put out the Lydia. Auto-Wara. Huh. Does crowing like Greasefang do anything? I guess not. But if that's what he's gonna do.
Enough with the mysteries.
Gonna make each player discard a card.
For answers. We all have things we'd rather
The last card is a
forget.
cut down. Okay, interesting. I didn't want to attack into the 4/4. But we are taking a lot of damage. Yeah. Attacking into the 4/4 is no bueno. Opponent gaining a lot of life. The counter spells really stopped us, and Auto-Wara did not help. Koto say, yeah, it's my combo. You bastard. Okay, what is he gonna take out? Surge Hacker mech. Oh, at least he doesn't have enough mana to play it. If you waited, you could have gotten my Invoke. Liliana.
When I win, you're telling me
gonna
what
make me
you
sad?
know about the Raven Man.
No, it's far. Well, I mean, he kind of
Don't
already saw the
overthink
Greasefang.
things.
Saw the Greasefang in play against the Surge Hacker. So, there's no point in keeping a Greasefang. Surge Hacker is dead. Okay, so that ensures that Liliana's gonna die. We could take out the Bank Buster at the cost of our unlicensed hearse, right? I don't know if that's relevant. Ooh, no. Oh, should I have clicked blocker? Should have clicked crew first. So now it just looks done. Liliana was gonna die anyways.
Oh, that's my cue to leave.
I don't know what I can do out of this. I think he takes out my farewell, right? Or was that the other game? Well, that was the other game, I guess. Funny how that happened. Alright, so I can exile everything next turn. This turn, I guess, it calls for Invoke to get rid of one creature, probably the pilot, get rid of one the Mihawk, and get rid of Liliana. Have to do what I have to do. Okay, so Surge Hack me. We're gonna crew it up. Crew up the Architect. Crew up from the Architect. If he attacks, I got blockers that can grow into a bigger blocker. He does attack. Okay, well, let's pass 2 blockers to block the shield drip so it won't take extra damage. 1 blocker. Second shield drip. Alright, we go down to 3. And let's do the thing. Creatures, artifacts. Are there any enchantments? No enchantments. Graveyards? Wasn't even in my graveyard. I got 1 unlicensed hearse, 2 unlicensed hearse. Graveyards might be a... No. My opponent might have graveyard plays too. They have Kotose, who knows? Everything out. Top deck war now. 31 to 3. Okay, well. You got shield drits, I got shield drits. I'm gonna claw back from that farewell. That would be ridiculous. Who knows though, my opponent's drawing cards, so the mirror deck's gonna have some comeback. There's that meat hook for 5. Well, it's a meat hook for 5. I'm sorry. I can pump this for 1.
Anyone who harms my people must show them how we greet our enemies.
Can you imagine if I drew an Invoke there? Alright, so let us... I'm just gonna pump this for more. Ah!
Remember your training.
Play my underdog. Or blitz my underdog. I guess... Now if I blitz it, I still gain 2 life. Draw a card. Gain a life. That was a dumb play on my end. But hey, we're still doing stuff. Okay, so I have a lot of mana. I don't know if my opponent has counterspell, so let's hook for 0 first. Response. You can counter the hook. Make this appear. Okay, now living up. Star card.
Those who
What's
get
the last
in
one
my
I had?
way
Oh, it's
tend.
okay.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Let's make a 2/2.
May your blade strike true.
That way we have lethal next turn. GG. We came out of that with the clutch farewell. That was fun. That was absolutely fun. Did not expect to happen. But I'm glad it did. So that's the game. That deck was fun. We got 3-0 in today's play style. We finished the quest for black and white. Everything was turning up Homer. Alright, so let's look at the deck. That was an amazing experience for this deck, although I do have to say, the Tainted Adversary didn't do anything. More underdog might be necessary. Rite of Oblivion, even though it was good, even though it had some usage, I feel like the fact that it's sorcery made it kind of pointless, because we cannot take out underdog that's blitzing us. So there might be calls to replacing these with more underdog or card draw spells, or maybe even March. Right? Instead of Rite of Oblivion, if we had a March, that might have been better. Meat Hook, definitely useful, although not in that last game. But we also unlicensed Hearse. It was good. We were able to use it to get a pretty big creature out to block their Shieldred. And everything else, I honestly think this deck works fairly well. Some fine-tuning is necessary. I thought about not putting in Shieldred, just because it's kind of clunky and doesn't do much, but really it wasn't for Shieldred, we would not have won that last game. And even though our opponent Koto said our Surge Hacker mech, we're supposed to lose, but we were still able to pull it out. So that was pretty fun. Maybe there's more mechs coming out in the future. This is definitely a fun mech deck. And it's got graveyard synergy, but it doesn't rely on graveyard synergy, which is what I love about, decks like these. Well, that's what I got for today. Thank you guys very much for joining me. See you guys next time.